G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Now this video is for my regular subscribers who've got all the backstory on what's going on here. I want to point out to you what sort of kicked off this whole latest episode, and it is this letter that I received from our local council on the 20th of October. Now, as regular viewers know, I've been flying at this airfield for nearly 20 years, and I have twice sat and attained my wings certification, allegedly a qualification that proves your ability to fly, your knowledge of the rules, and checks your attitude to safety. Now, I think none of those things are in question when it comes to me. My flying ability, even with my Parkinson's, because I choose my days carefully, I am probably as competent or more competent than most of the people I fly with when it comes to flying. I've had to rescue other people's aircraft from time to time when they've got into trouble, yet they allegedly now have to supervise me. My knowledge of the rules is, I think, second to none. I've had to school CAA on at least one occasion about the rules, and my attitude to safety is unquestionable. Who mandated the use of a radio at the airfield 3 years before it became a requirement under the regulations? Who designed and built and has an ADSB alarm there every day we fly? The only airfield in the country, possibly the world, that has an ADSB alarm. There's no question that I have all the things I need to hold a wing certification, except I'm not paying an organisation money, which I find interesting because there are other organisations in New Zealand that will take, if you pay $1,500 to do a 3-day course, and you will get the very same wings, except you don't have to keep paying them an annual stipend. So either wings are a true test of competence, knowledge and attitude, or they're not. You can't have it so that this test, which is exactly the same as that test, somehow this one is perpetual and this one is dependent on paying a subscription. That makes a mockery of the whole concept of the test. But that's another thing. I just want to move on now, talk about this letter. In this letter, the council states, it has been brought to the attention of council of an incident, yeah, they never took English at school, of an incident that you were flying a drone/unmanned aircraft at the Taikaro airfield without the appropriate authority. And this is where everything gets interesting. Because in New Zealand, if you want to fly at or within 4 kilometres of an airfield, you must have the permission or an arrangement with the airfield operator. They must give you authority to do that. And if you don't, then you're in breach of the civil aviation regulations. You risk fines and all sorts of things. So I've been flying under the authority granted under the rules as published by the South Waikato District Council in 2019. They published rules, very clear, that say to fly at the airfield, to have authority to fly at the airfield with model aircraft or drones, you must be the holder of a wings badge. You know, as I say, I've passed it twice, but technically I'm not a holder because I haven't paid my annual fee. You must be the holder of a wings badge, or you must be a pilot, have a pilot's license, real pilot's license, because as we know, being able to fly Cessna 172 means you're quite competent and able to fly a model aircraft. Anyway, or you must be under the direct supervision of someone who holds the wings certification. That's what the council themselves said in 2019 rules. So for a lot of the time, I've been flying with my own wings, but then when I didn't rejoin Model Flying New Zealand, I've been flying under the supervision of others, such as Ron, who has his wings. Quite legit, perfectly compliant with the council's published rules. So to get a letter that accuses me of not having the necessary authority, it makes you wonder. And they've cited that, they point to a video, which is this video here, which I published on the 10th of October, which means it was probably the day before, 9th of October. So this came to me, the letter was dated some 11 days after the alleged incident. And it wasn't an incident in so much as someone reported me doing something wrong. No, the incident was I actually flew a model at the airfield under the authority granted by the rules that the council themselves have published. Because then they go on to say that the rules state that you must have the authority of an aerodrome operator, membership of Model Flying New Zealand. No, that's never been a requirement, either from CAA or from the council's own rules. But they're citing here, this is the new rule that the council's made, you have to have membership of Model Flying New Zealand. Only Model Flying New Zealand members have authority to fly models at the airfield. What's going on here? And then it says, you must hold a wings badge or a pilot's license to fly a drone or unmanned aircraft. They seem to have dropped the supervision thing. No, being supervised is not enough anymore. You must be a member of Model Flying New Zealand. You must have your own wings. You can't be supervised. God knows how we are going to train new pilots, because you can't train them for their wings until they've got their wings at the Tokoroa Tokoroa Airfield. Anyway, so I thought, maybe it's my fault. Maybe they sent an email out with the advising of the new rules and I wasn't aware of them. So I'll go online and I will see what the new rules are, as you would. I mean, that's it. So I jumped online. Tap, tap, tap. No, the only rules I could find were dated 2019. Hang on a minute. I'm being accused of breaking a rule that isn't even on the council's website. And we're now talking, I received this on about the 22nd, so we're now talking about 2 weeks after I allegedly broke a rule. That rule still isn't published on the council's website. How can I break a rule if I'm not advised, if no one knows that rule exists? But I thought, we're dealing with a bureaucracy here, a council that has proven its incompetence, its sloth, its inability to do even the simplest jobs without cocking it up. So I thought, I will go down to the council building and I will go up to the counter and I will ask for a copy of these rules, because if these rules exist, then surely the council themselves will have a copy of them. So I trotted down on November the 2nd. More than 3 weeks since I was alleged to have broken this rule, I trotted down to get a copy of this rule. Went down to the council chambers, went up to the front desk and spoke to the lovely lady there. I mean, these women are gold. These are the biggest asset this council has, because I see so many people effing and blinding and tearing strips off them because the council, other council staff further up the food chain, people just don't do their jobs properly. A lot of them are just completely useless. So the public gets outraged that they're not getting the service they want, that they've been mistreated, that they've been abused, the power's been abused. And so they come to the frontline counter staff and they start raging at them. And it's not these women's fault. These women are the firewall. They have to absorb all this and still remain polite, and they do it with grace and decorum. My hat goes off to these women. They are real marvels. Anyway, so I asked this lovely lady on the front desk, I said, can I have a copy of the latest rules, or the new rules? I said, the new rules for the flying of models at the Tokoroa Airfield. I gather they've been updated recently. Can I have a copy of the new rules? So she said, they'll be online. I said, well, I had a look online. I couldn't find them. So she said, well, I'll have a look for you. So she gets online, gets on her computer, tap, 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 tap. 10 minutes later, tap, 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 tap. Oh, no, they don't seem to be online, do they? I said, no, they don't. I said, well, can you have a look in your... Well, actually, this is what she said. Listen to this. She's just gone online to search for these new rules, and this is what she said to me. Easy to find, eh? Yeah. Important information at your fingertips.
And if we can't do it, you can imagine how difficult it is for people out there, eh?
Yeah. She admitted if she couldn't find them, how would the public be expected to find them? And I'm the public that's subject to these rules, and I can't find them. She can't find them. I said, well, can you take a moment to have a look on the internal systems? Because obviously it may be that these rules have been drafted and they're now in effect, but it just hasn't been uploaded to the website. The council does move a bit slow in these areas. And she said, okay, I'll have a look. Tap, 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 tap. 7 minutes later, she comes back and says, the only rules I can find are dated 2019. In fact, here's what she said.
2019?
Yeah, so that's a council document. That came from council, so I wanted to make sure that was current and up to date.
There's nothing preceding it? Absolutely.
Nothing following that. Okay, well, that answers my question.
Okay.
Then I shall use that as a guide.
Yeah, for sure. I can ring and ask if Clayton's in. He may know if there's anything...
Well, it hasn't been published though, has it?
No, it's definitely
no. Okay. So here we are. The published or promulgated rules are dated 2019, and they give me authority to fly at the airfield because I can fly under the supervision of somebody with wings. There is no requirement in those rules to be a member of Model Flying New Zealand, and the supervision clause is clearly stated in those published rules. But the council are telling me, we've got new rules and you're in breach of them. You're being told off because you broke that rule. Yet over 3 weeks later, even the council's own front desk staff have no knowledge of these rules. They're not on the website. Nobody seems to know about them except the person that wrote this letter. So I can only presume from this that this is a deliberate move to piss me off. They've created this new rule and they've locked it away in a drawer somewhere and told nobody about it, just so that they can say, you broke this new rule. But we're not going to tell anybody, not even going to tell you about it. It's going to be hidden. How many other rules have they made that they're not going to tell anybody about, that they're going to accuse them of breaking? This is not the way intelligent systems work. This is not the way any system where they have any level of power should operate. And this is why I have so many problems with this council. When they resort to this kind of chicanery, this skullduggery, this unethical behaviour, it's unacceptable. People wonder why I rage at this council. Here is the perfect example. They make a secret rule and then they hide it in a drawer, and no matter what I do, I cannot find any trace of that rule. No one else could find a trace of the rule either, not even the council's own staff. But I'm accused of breaking that rule. I must be required to have psychic abilities now if I want to be compliant with the rules. Anyway, so I went back to this person and said, why is this new rule here? What have you had a complaint about me? Is there something that someone's complained? I've been unsafe, that I've caused a problem? And the person said, no, there's been no complaints. We are doing this on the recommendation of CAA. I thought, I know I've had my run-ins with CAA in the past, but CAA, they've been pretty good recently. They've acknowledged, and even they acknowledged that flying my little tiny whoop around my house was not sufficiently dangerous to merit taking action against me when I confessed to the crime. They've had a slightly pragmatic. The new Director General of Civil Aviation has said they're going to focus on safety issues, not technical infringements, right? So they've got a refreshed outlook now, CAA. So I couldn't see CAA being involved in this, so I went on Twitter. And I basically asked the CAA, do you have a problem with me flying at the airfield? And their response was very clear. We have no problems with you operating under the provisions of CAR 101, which are the current rules in the 2019 rule set for the council. So they did not say, hey, you need to change this rule. But the council says they did. Who do you think's lying in this? Given the deception, the obvious skullduggery that's going on here, do you think it's the council or it's CAA? I put my money on the council. The council is bullshitting. They're lying. They're being deceitful. They're making secret rules that I'm supposed to know about because I'm psychic. And then, being the clever people they are, they said, oh, but we're not banning you from flying. Oh, no. You can still fly at the airfield. Just you'll have to do the following. If you want to fly at the airfield under the supervision of somebody who has wings, then both you and that supervisor will have to fill out this form. Every day you want to fly, fill out this form and submit it to council. And then we will take those forms, we'll look at them, depending on how good the coffee is on that day and how many donuts we've eaten, we may or may not choose to give you permission to fly on that day. But even if we do give you permission, then you will have to file every flight with a system called AirShare. And this speaks to how stupid the council is and how little they know about what they're talking about. They said you have to file every flight, not just file one thing you're going to be flying from there until there. No, every individual flight must be filed in advance with AirShare, because that's the way AirShare works. You file your flight in advance so that people know where you're flying and for how long. And that's fine if you're going to be flying a particular, like a commercial job where you're going to spend 10 minutes, surveying a little area of land or something. That's fine. You're going to fly 10 minutes. But what happens when I go out with my little DLG? I have to file a flight plan. I can say, okay, I know where I am. I know what the time of my takeoff is, but I have no idea when this plane's how long this is going to be in terms of a flight. I may just be down in 40 seconds if there's no lift. I may be up for 45 minutes if I had a thermal. How can I file that in advance? I can't. You can't file these flight plans retrospectively, but the council says I have to file them in advance. And not only do I have to be psychic so I know what these secret unpublished rules are, I have to now be a clairvoyant, and I have to know in advance whether there'll be a thermal or not, and how strong that thermal will be, and exactly how long my DLG flight will be. As I say, they've just put ridiculous hurdles in the way, things that cannot possibly be complied with no matter how hard you try. They've put these in the way and said, we're not banning you. You just have to be clairvoyant to do this. If you're not clairvoyant, you shouldn't be flying. Unbelievable, isn't it? It's utterly unbelievable. I don't know. This is what I'm dealing with this council. Tell me that's not malevolence. Tell me it's not singling me out for special treatment. Tell me there's not agendas at work here. Remember the tower? Yeah. I've got a whistleblower who's going to help me on a video about this tower, telling the view from the inside and what really went on with this tower and how I was so right when I claimed this was a case of just sheer vindictiveness. Anyway, so that's where we stand. I've just kind of proven that the council is acting completely unethically here. Completely. Their motives are totally in question and their actions are beyond the pale. And I've tried to get this resolved. As I've said in previous videos, I have emailed councillors. I've said, look, let's get together, let's sort this out because nobody needs this drama. You don't want me exposing all the things you're doing wrong to the world. You don't want a lawsuit because some of this stuff probably is going to end up in court. If you don't, get your heads out of your asses and say, okay, we'll sort it. Now, I've had one councillor come back to me, very, very good. She has said she's going to look into it. I know, talk is cheap. We'll see what happens. And another councillor has just acknowledged, I got your email. Nothing else. That's it. We just got your email. And another councillor has said, look, this sounds interesting. I'd like to, can we meet? I've given her a briefing and said, when do you want to meet? Nothing. It's gone dead. That's gone dead. So The rest of the councillors just, because these people, the most important thing, I honestly believe the most important thing to these people is saving face. They will never apologise. They will never say, oh my goodness, we got it wrong. And that's why they don't take criticism. They say, if you criticise them, you become an enemy. You become a target for their abuses. Just like me. I've criticised them in the past for doing some really shitty stuff. And now I must be victimised at all costs. We've got to get our own back on this guy Simpson. How dare he question us? How dare he point out when we do things wrong, when we do bad things, when we stuff up? We're never going to apologise for our failures. We will just victimise him until he goes away. But guess what? I'm not going away. That's what they fail to understand, is I'm here for the long run. I'm here for the long run. And it's so much easier because they're destroying the community that they're elected to serve. They all went out and said, oh, vote for me. I will do the best for the community. And then what did they do? They destroyed thousands of dollars in community public assets to get back at me because I criticised them. This is a delinquent council. These people do not deserve to be in any form of power. And the bureaucracy that come up with crap like this, well, I think you know what I think of that. Anyway, so go to the comments now. Tell me what you think. I'm going to do another version of this video. This is for the people that already know the backstory and already know what goes on. But the general public, a lot of people now have come to the channel after my last video and they're disgruntled with their own council. Now, they don't have the backstory. And if I did a video with all the backstory so bloody long that people would nod off halfway through. So I've got to try and make a video which doesn't deal with the details here, but deals with what's going on. I need to show them how the council's made secret rules that they will not tell anybody about, but they will accuse people of breaking. And I'm going to create a video that is more general in terms so that, and that's quite a difficult task, but I'll be doing that. And I'll be doing the clickbaity title and everything, to get as many people in the public outside my normal viewership to see that video because it needs to be seen. Because if they're doing it to me, they're going to do it to other people. And if this council's doing it, other councils are doing it. And this problem we have with this abuse of power is global. As you'll see from the comments on my other videos, people have just had enough. So I'm the guy that's going to stand up, hold these people's feet to the flames if they don't see reason. And you know that they could just get together with me and sort this out in probably half an hour. But they're so intent on saving face, I don't believe that'll happen. They will throw the reputation of their council under a bus to preserve their own face. I'd love them to prove me wrong. I would apologise if they proved me wrong because I'm not afraid of apologising when I stuff up, unlike some people. There you go. Thanks, guys. Go to the comments. Tell me what you think about this. This is just a symptom of a really big disease that's embracing the world. People overcome with their own power, willing to misuse their power to execute personal agendas, and it's just not happening on my watch. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.